Welcome everybody! Today we will learn how to write ionic equation. So let's start with a beautiful lesson and a beautiful equation as usual. We will start with a beautiful equation that includes the reaction of the chlorine between potassium bromide. Okay, so as the first thing we started as usual, we start determining the oxidation states of the whole atoms in this equation. So we start with the chlorine. Chlorine here is the same type of atom, so the oxidation state is considered to be 0. And here we have potassium chloride, which means this chlorine atom is combined with a foreign atom. So its oxidation state is -1. What about potassium? Potassium here has an oxidation state of +1 because it locates in group number 1. And here we have the same thing, no changes for potassium atom. What about bromine? Bromine has oxidation state of -1, but then it turned to be 0 because we have the same type of atoms and no different atoms are combined or binded with. Okay, so let's consider the changes. Here we have a chlorine. We start writing the chlorine and then we write the changes. Here we have Cl2 and then it turned to be Cl-. As we see, we should balance these half equations. So the chlorine atoms here are not balanced because here we have 2 chlorine atoms and here we have only 1. So we multiplied this beautiful chlorine by 2. Here we have same number of chlorine atoms, but still we have a problem. Here we have 2 negative charges. How to make them equal on both sides? Here chlorine has overall charge of 0. So how to make this side -2? By adding 2 electrons in this term. According to the oxidation state here, chlorine was 0 and then turned to -1, which means we have decrease in the oxidation state, so the process here is reduction. The oxidation state of bromine was -1, but then turned to 0. So we write it as it is here. We write bromine minus and then turn to be Br2. But here we don't have the same number of bromine atoms, so what to do in this case? We just multiply this atom by 2. But after multiplying this atom by 2, we got the same number of atoms, but we didn't have balanced the charges. So what to do in this case? Here in this side we have 0 charged, but here we have -2. So we have to add 2 negative signs and the sign. Alright, so according to the bromine here, we have increased in the oxidation state. It was negative and then turned to be 0. So this process is considered as oxidation. We didn't finish. How to write ionic equation? Ionic equation as a result of adding the 2 balanced half equations to each other. So we're going to add these 2 equations. Here we have 2 half and balanced. Okay, so what to do in this case? We have 2 electrons on both sides. Alright, so they cancel each other. And then we put the atoms and the compounds as they are. So we write chlorine and Br2 before the arrows, and here we have Br2 and 2 Cl- after the arrows. So adding the balanced half equations gives the ionic equation for the reactions. Guys, it's not complicated. Just like adding the balanced half equations to each other and then you got the answer. Okay guys, if you have any questions you can ask me in the comments below. Have a nice day.